obviously Archon has done a lot of great developments here and built a lot of great projects. So I really wanted to get his time, Michael's time, and the team's time to talk about all the interesting things that are happening in the construction industry right now. So we really appreciate it. Michael, I don't know if you want to say a few words, but I think we can start the intro.
Yeah, I'll just say Michael Scheurich. I'm the CEO of Archon Corporation, the general contractor who's building this great project, and I'm very happy to be here with y'all today. I'm glad so many of y'all could come, and I hope you enjoy it, stay cool, and learn something along the way.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. All right, well, I'll kick it off. I think it'd be fun to start off with just, tell us a little bit about how Archon got started. I believe y'all started in 2000, but if you could tell us a little bit about your history that led up to that and how this company came about.
Sure. Well, you get a gold star because you said the name correctly.
Yes.
So Archon is the name of the company, and many people say Archon. That's okay. My last name is Scheurich, but people will say Scheurich. So I get it from both sides. And Houston has been my home since 1995. I grew up in Beaumont, which is not too far from here, and I worked for some large companies after I got out of Texas A&M, and started. There you go. Started Archon in the year 2000, like Randy said, and it was an exciting time. Any other aspiring entrepreneurs, or some that are entrepreneurs, will tell you that it's a very challenging thing, and it takes a lot of you have to be very fearless, right, to do that. And so it has been an incredible journey for me in watching this company grow from basically our first job, which was a very small job, into today, this is our largest project. So everything in between has brought me a lot of joy, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, but through it all, enduring it has brought such a huge sense of achievement, because in my business you get to see the results. It's very tangible, right? You get to see these bricks and mortar that bring a sense of pride, and I think that's why a lot of people in our industry, from a development perspective, they get that connection to the architecture, that connection to the construction, because they can see it and feel it at the end. If you're a psychiatrist, if you're some other profession, you have to search and get your love and passion in some other means. And so as we drive around today and see these landmarks that now are a part of this city and other cities, it is a huge sense of great accomplishment. But boil all that down, and the real heart of this company is not the buildings, is not the brick and mortar, but it is the people. And that is where I get the most gratification from, in the development of the people that are part of this organization and are the heartbeat of Archon.
Fantastic. Excellent. So for the next question, obviously we're here. This is a beautiful mixed-use, multifamily plus retail development. I've seen your developments along Washington, great developments all throughout the loop. But I've noticed that Archon works on all kinds of asset types. So office, retail, industrial, mixed use, multifamily. So I guess my question is it hard managing all those different types of assets, or building all those different types of assets? What does it take to be able to be an expert in each one of those and basically be able to take any kind of business that comes your way, I guess?
Is it hard? Well, this is something I've told people before. It's from a movie, actually, but I say, see that? Steady as a rock, but I shoot with this hand. And so, is it hard? Yes. I mean, but it's hard for everyone in their in their particular job and in their career. And so the key to our success is diversity, right? And having that ability to roll with different product types, because they find that their own economic cycle. And so here it's a mixed use, which to some extent has its own kind of economic cycle. It's very popular right now. People want to live, work, and play in a very, very cool and very close proximity. And that wasn't always the case for a lot of cities in America. Maybe New York City or Chicago, but not
Houston's getting there now.
Houston's getting there, right? So it's very popular. And so, our ability to work in different product types, is hard. But what we do is we treat those as individual, we respect them as individual businesses in a sense. So if you see us on the Beltway, and you'll see us as a tilt wall contractor, and people will say, Archon, well, I thought y'all were a tilt wall contractor. I didn't know you built apartments. Yeah, we build apartments. Or they'll say, well, I thought y'all were a retail contractor, or a hotel contractor. And so in some ways, that's a huge compliment to me, where other people, no, and they get offended. Well, you don't know what we do, right? But no, I think that's a compliment to me, because what it tells me, it gives me a grade. Am I getting a good grade in that product type? If people perceive that I am one of those contractors that builds that product type, then I am succeeding. And so that, I think is like spinning a lot of plates, right? If you have a job to do, and you're like, to your boss, and it feels like it's overwhelming, and it's just too much to ask for and too much to do, it's because they're asking you to spin a lot of plates at the same time. And that takes, for one thing, it takes, you have to be calm, and you have to be patient. And so, there's aspects of this job that you wouldn't think would come in handy, right? Because construction is all about schedule.
Yeah.
We got to deliver on this date, and there's people that are going to occupy, and if you miss the date, then you would think it would be the end of the world, right? I mean, that's the way it's treated.
A little bit of pressure.
A little bit of pressure, right? And so, how do you do that and feel, like you can be patient at the same time? So that, that's the trick. But it's having that diversity within our organization that has really been huge in our success.
Excellent. Yeah, congratulations on finishing that project with Liberty Hospitality Group in the Galleria. We actually were just at that grand opening.
Oh, you were?
That Holiday Inn. Yeah, we met Masad and all of them. So
Absolutely.
That's a fantastic project. So congrats on that as well.
Great people.
So I think everyone in the real estate industry, or who follows the real estate industry, has been hearing about rising cost of construction. Rising cost of lumber, rising cost of steel. We've had some issues with the pandemic, with people building more single-family homes, a lot more do-it-yourself projects, so more demand for lumber. At the same time, we've had disruptions in the supply chain with people shutting down due to the pandemic, maybe some of the people actually getting sick themselves from the pandemic. So the price of lumber, I think it was about $300 per 1,000 board feet in March 2020, and I think it got up to about $1,600, and now coming back down to about $900. Where do you see those prices going? If you can, maybe you can expand more on what has happened there, and maybe you can tell us a little bit more about how you're helping those developers who still want to build and still want to get projects off the ground. How are you guys managing this crazy change in the supply chain and
Right.
prices?
Well, pre-pandemic, we were, undergoing a huge change in our business because we were growing every year after year, growing, and so it was a demand, was high, and so that was what you would say everything was going just fine. Prices were in check, and then it wasn't just the pandemic. It seemed, you all remember this, in early of 2020. The every week it was something, right? Every week it was inciting fear in the entire market. So, that for us as a company, whether the stock market dropped 3,000 points or oil went into negative territory, or
That was fun.
all that stuff, right? For us, we had a benefit because construction was labeled as a essential service. And so we kept working. Now, it was our safety team that allowed us to do this, safely. And that took a tremendous effort in how that work was planned and how we had our protocols changed. Robert Schindler who was our vice president of safety, was the one that steered all of that, steered us through all of that. And so, but we got through it, right? And you're like, okay, look at this, man. The masks are gonna start coming off, and be able to get back to our normal life, and but this whole supply chain thing I've experienced before. 2004, steel went up 45% in 3 days. A lot of you don't know that, but I can name certain periods of time where we got spikes in some of our materials, and even we had labor spikes at certain points. But what's unique about this is it's like this, it's gaining momentum. Now, this little relief in the lumber market, can for those of us that are trying to read the tea leaves, trying to decide where's it going, this was kind of predicted to get back in check, like towards the middle of fourth quarter. That's what we've been kind of planning for. So it came back a little sooner. But lumber just makes the headlines. Steel just makes the headlines. What's unique about this period in our lives is it's affecting everything. And I don't mean just, construction material. If you want to go buy a set of golf clubs, you're going to go in the store and they're not going to have them there. You're going to have to wait 3 months to get them. And so, which is okay, you can wait or get a used pair, but in this business, we kind of reverse back and I said, this is all about time. It's all about delivery. And people can pay the price, they can do, the change their options, but you still have to deliver on time. And so the headlines get these key indicators of pricing, but what we're experiencing right now in our industry is the literally not being able to get our hands on roofing material, not being able to get our hands on metal studs. And so what are we doing to deal with that as a company? We are, Archon is a combination of architecture and construction, so we embrace design. We don't look at design as just the means to an end. So architects and engineers are our partners. We're not just trying to get them out of the way so we can get the project built. No, we're embracing them as our partner. And so we're working with them to come up with creative ideas to alter the construction. So if bar joist, which is a construction term, but it's a structural member that is not available right now. So we're redesigning the building envelope, the shell of the building, to not use bar joists. So just think about that. If you're going to make pancakes, we were talking about pancakes, you got to have eggs to make pancakes, right? To make the batter. So if you can't get eggs, what do you do? Well, you can't say we're not going to have pancakes. So you put in a substitute. And so that a lot of what we're doing today is finding substitution for those problems and working around.
So that unique approach that, Archon working more on the front end to helping with the design, I mean, that really helped out in this situation. So you can help, getting more proactive to make design changes rather than just reactive. So that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
All right. Great. So I know you guys operate in different cities around Texas, and you're branching out to a few different states as well. I think the demand for sustainable building practices is different all around the spectrum. What are you guys seeing for the demand for sustainable building practices, and what is Archon doing in that space?
Yeah, so it's sustainable, environmental friendly, green buildings is a big passion of ours, and seeing that progress is incredibly important as our cities all over the country and the world continue to grow. much energy they consume, and it's imperative that we continue to advance the ball. That being said, a market that we're in where there's a lot of challenges, a lot of headwinds, we're seeing that demand reduced.
Yeah, there's bigger issues right now.
Bigger issues, and doesn't mean we're not still doing it. We have projects but if I were to tell you and quote what the numbers say, what the percentages are,
Yeah.
then we are in a moment in time where that is declining.
Yeah.
It's that can turn on a dime,
Sure.
and we could see that shift back to a priority. If energy prices spike, which right now they've been cheap, right? So the oil, much to Houston's chagrin, has been low, and so that's been our own challenge. But if energy is cheap, well then people aren't as focused on that. It
delays
right?
the alternative energy focus a bit.
That's right. Yeah. And so if that starts to rise, if that starts to spike, then you're going to start to see more pressure put on that.
Yeah.
More pressure on efficiency, mechanical systems, electrical systems. And so, I think it's just a moment in time that we're in, and that priority is going to come back.
Yeah, prepared for it, but you're working with developers on what matters to them at this point, and so depending
It
on what
means
they
getting
need.
your deal done or not done.
Yeah.
Survival is the
It's
key.
unique times right now. I mean, the pandemic isn't easy, and there's a lot of issues. So I got a bit of an open question for you. In your opinion, kind of what is the future of the construction industry? Do you see any major shifts underway or anything that you can share with us, anything cutting edge coming down the line? Like I said, it's a bit open-ended of a question, so let me know what you think.
I think, the key to the construction industry is technology, right? We have to embrace it. In the past, it has typically been slow to embracing technology, right? Because it's been a trade that you learn and you apprentice, and a craft that you develop it. And once you have it, then you're going to protect it, and you're going to use that as leverage to get your next job and what have you. So like the Masons and how back in the day and what they base their whole culture on. Today, it's people that are young and getting into a career. Look at this as do they really want to apprentice? Do they really want to learn how to pour concrete or be a plumber? It's not high on the list. Now development sounds really great, and real estate and some of the aspects of it sounds really great, but you're talking about what we're actually doing here. So if we're looking at a declining workforce, as we start to age out our current workforce, and there's not as many people to replace them, what do you do? How do you solve that? And that's where technology has to come into play. And so those of you that have an interest in real estate development, construction, that's my challenge to you is think about how that a certain piece of this puzzle can be rethought, can be disrupted, right? I think there's tons of opportunity for disruption.
And there's some safety that comes with that, right? If you can remove certain people in high risk,
sure,
parts of the job as well.
Yeah. Removes jobs too, but they'll find other jobs.
Yeah.
But the ability to assemble and to package is where we're seeing our industry go. So it's instead of the mixing and making and all of that here on site, we're seeing packaging and prefab and that just go to a whole new level. We thought we knew what prefab was, back 10 years ago, but the opportunity for wall systems and assemblies is really going to surprise everyone in the next 10 years.
Yeah. Okay. All right. One last question before we take some questions from the audience and then do the tour. Can you tell us about some of your favorite projects you've worked on around Houston? You know, where are those? And then can you tell us a little bit about Regent Square specifically? We know we have phase 1 over there on Dallas, and now we're in phase 2. From what I understand, we are going to be looking at phase 3 maybe in the future. So just kind of take us through some of your favorite projects you've worked on, and then talk about Regent Square, and then we'll take some questions.
So I was asked this question by someone here today, and I told her that this is my favorite project. And GID.
Is GID here?
GID.
Yeah, they're here.
GID is my favorite client. Everybody give a hand for They are a incredible company that is based out of Boston, and you know this looks like a massive, huge project, but they recently completed one in New York City that had a B in front of it. A huge project, and really, really impressive organization that not only do we enjoy working with, but has actually helped make our company better, which is really quite a compliment. And so, no kidding when I say, you know, it is the largest project to date for our company, so it is absolutely one of my favorites.
50,000 square foot of retail, 600 residences, is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. But the thing that will really, you'll get a feel when you go on the tour is the amenities that are going to be, you know, in this, and that they think about that in just a whole new way. Whole new way. So you'll be blown away with what you're going to see and what the residents are going to, you know, have at their fingertips here, you know, right in their backyard. And then just a few others that come to mind. Of course, my first project, which was a $7,000 driveway entrance into a manufacturing facility. That will always be one of my favorite projects, in which I, you know, got out there and had 4 people pouring concrete for me, and you know, I got this is 2000, so a brand new digital camera, Kodak digital camera, and took a picture, and that was, we were on our way, and it's an image that I'll always remember, and with great fondness. And then, you know, one that was you look at your life and you'll say, you know, there's just these game-changing moments in your own life, right? That you can remember and you'll never forget. And so, you know, some of those for me is we built our first high-rise, and that was a 9-story Embassy Suites up in the Woodlands that Howard Hughes entrusted in us. We had never done a structure like that before, and we ended up, you know, building it in 13 months, which was the fastest that an embassy had been delivered, you know, at that time. And so that was a project that will always be, you know, near and dear to me. And then, you know, something that you might not think is too you know, too exciting, but we're building a distribution center for Floor and Decor. Does everybody know this store, Floor and Decor?
Of course.
Yeah, and it's 1.5 million square feet. And so when you think about all of that under one roof, it's astonishing to think that you can, you know, that much building, and you hit a golf ball and you can't make it to the end. So that is one, and then I think just the last one I'll mention is just down the street here. You mentioned on Washington,
yes,
which was, you know, our first true mixed-use project. It's the Buffalo Heights, where you have the HEB, and there's an office building component, and there's a multifamily, you know, component. And that project was award-winning, and
quite a bit.
Quite an accomplishment for us, so that'll go down as one of my favorites.
Fantastic. No, it's great to see you guys all over the place and the different asset types and the different areas of Houston. When do you expect this one to finish up?
So we have a great schedule that we're staying, you know, right in line with, and although we're overcoming some obstacles, but we'll have residents moving in before the end of the year. And so, you know, that's a huge milestone for us. A project like this gets delivered in stages, and so and then, you know, at the end or middle of next year, we'll be wrapping everything up and then hopefully just moving across the street to the next phase, which you mentioned. The first phase, if you look down the street here, you see a tower that's just literally across the Dunleavy here. That was phase 1, and called this Sovereign. Thank you. And so this is obviously phase 2, and then across the street is going to be a continuation of the campus here that is going to include more residential. It's going to include some additional retail, but a park and some office components.
Wow, are you telling us that when this is done, it should happen pretty much right after?
Well, we're hoping. It depends on what the market does,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And but we hope that we can just keep on rolling.
Yeah. No, this is awesome. And what's happening between Shepherd and Dunleavy along Dallas is absolutely mind-blowing. Not only are all the projects fantastic in their own way, but it's really in the heart of the city, right next to Buffalo Bayou. So I think everyone here is super pumped about what's happening to this area. We're all real excited to make Houston a great place, or a better place even than it is right now.
And I'm excited to having a part in changing this great city that we all love.
Yeah. All right, well, with that, I guess we'll open it up for a couple of questions before we get started on the tour.